So now one thing I want to take a look at here is I looked at Bears Wire. They graded the Bears for Sunday. Now they didn't go too deep with everything. They just pretty much said offense, defense, special teams. So I'm going to stay right where they are. They gave the offense an A. I would have to say you'd agree. It's just pretty easy, right? Bears put up a freaking gazillion yards on offense. I mean, I got to check and see exactly how many it was, but it was unfreaking believable how easily they moved the ball. And obviously, Cincinnati's defense is in trouble. They are not in a good place. But still, you got to do what you got to do. The Bears put up almost 600 yards of total offense, 576 yards overall. They averaged 7.6 yards per play. It was 293 yards passing, and of course we know they torched them for 283 yards on the ground. That is 283 yards on the ground is crazy in an NFL game. That's almost like what you see when Alabama or something plays early in the season against some school that's just happy to be there. That's what 283 yards on the ground looks like. You very rarely will see that kind of absolute just demolition. That's just crazy. Bears are also offensively were 8 for 15 on third down, better than 50% on third down. Is great. They were also 2 for 2 on fourth down. So none of Ben's fourth down gambles hurt them. They got 11 first downs on runs. Crazy. 17 on the pass. They only got 2 first downs from penalties. They actually only gave the Bengals 1 first down for penalties, which, as far as the penalties, though, one thing, like I know that we gave the Bears defense an A, and I agreed with that. But they did still have 7 penalties. Now, the one thing I will say is that the penalties, some of those, and especially some of the bigger ones, were actually on the special teams. So that's something you also have to consider. You can't just totally say, "Oh, well, yeah, there were more penalties," and you automatically give it all to the offense. Because if you look at what happened here with the Bears, we had an illegal shift. That's an offensive penalty, of course. That was in the first quarter. We also had a holding on Theo Bernadette in the second quarter. Then we had a holding on Walker, which was the play that eliminated Devin Duvernay's return. So that's a special teams penalty. So we had 2 out of the 3. Then we got an illegal formation in the third quarter on Durham Smythe. It's 3 or 4 on offense. Then we had a delay of game, which obviously is on Caleb. That was a huge penalty. That's was that 4 out of 5. And then defensive holding on Deshaun Wright. We got pass interference on Tyreek Stevenson. We got another pass interference on Nick McLeod, which I thought was really kind of soft. And we got a false start on Theo Bernadette. Then, of course, we had defensive holding by Hardy. And then we had illegal use of the hands by Deshaun Wright. So those are the penalties that we had. Still, in my opinion, a bit too many on offense. A bit too many, but obviously it wasn't enough to cost them the game. And also I don't think that it was enough to make it where the Bears offense didn't deserve an A grade. Now, defense. Bears Wire says that the defense is an F. I would have to, I don't know, we might be splitting hairs here, but I'm going to say a D minus. I'm going to say a D, actually. And here's the reason why I say a D. This is still a defense that is dramatically injured in the secondary, right? I know they signed CJ Gardner-Johnson, but there's still a team that's banged up significantly in the secondary. We know that the pass rush is not great, but they actually had 3 sacks yesterday. 1 from Montez Sweat and 1 from Austin Booker. Austin Booker forced a fumble. I actually believe Montez Sweat forced a fumble too. I think that was taken away from us. We also had 3 interceptions. One was the one at the end, the Hail Mary that sealed the game. We had one that should have been a pick 6. I guess technically he was contacting him at the time when Tremaine Edmonds got the interception and took it back the distance. But I don't know. There was a lot of impact plays made by the defense for me to say an F. That's why I would say a D, but you can't hide the fact that, yes, Flacco did throw for 470 yards. I think the Bears did a good job against the run. I think the Bears folded defensively at a key point in the game, but I don't still think that that's an F. I feel like I'm more comfortable with a D there. F is kind of rough. Special teams, 100% of F. F minus. F to the highest of Fness. Ethnicity. F. Yes, F. The coverage is terrible. Every single time anybody returns a kick against the Bears, I hope I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't never take it for granted that we're gonna not allow the person to get a 40-yard return at least. The opening kickoff, taken back for a touchdown. The Bears behind the 8 ball from the beginning. And we had Cairo Santos get a kick blocked. We have not yet made an impact ourselves in the return game. We had a great return. They got called back because of a ridiculous holding call. Just special teams, just terrible, just absolutely dreadful. I'm sorry. He also put coaching here. He has coaching a C. I disagree. I disagree with that. I would say coaching is a B plus. And here's why I would say that. Offensively, the Bears did everything you would want them to do. Offensive line played out of their minds. If you just check social media, there's so many videos out of Benedett and Darnell Wright and Tooney dominating the Bengals. Offensive line was great. Obviously, the run game was fantastic. It was schemed up nicely. Everything. I counted one really bad play call yesterday offensively. Defensively, I think they are undermanned. They don't have a proven pass rusher on their team. Montez Sweat is playing decently, but you can't be too hard on Dennis Allen because they don't have the guys. But they are finding a way to make plays when they need to make them. Yesterday was tough, but I don't know. I think the offense was too good. I think they're being too hard on the defense. Special teams bring things down quite a bit. So maybe not a B plus, maybe more like a B, but I don't think a C. I think a C is a bit too harsh, and I think it ignores how good the offense was and how much Dennis Allen, I think, is salvaging having an incomplete defense. So that's my take on that. I think those grades are maybe a little bit too harsh when we look at them overall. So